Well, Jim, let's take another fun ride. And I'm assuming that you probably paid closer attention than I did, but we'll find out because I don't remember exactly what I saw. WWE Raw this past week. Another week from another locale, another packed house. Where were they?
Well, let me talk to you. Because I'll tell you exactly where they were. They were in the Frenchiest part of Ontario. As I recall, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, is farther up toward Montreal than Toronto is, or the other Ontario towns that people in America may be familiar with, the Hamiltons and the Burlingtons and the Furnhamtons and all those other tons. So I remember going there a time or two with the WWF, and they're leaning toward the French area up there. You get a lot more French people. But guess who we got on first after the Money in the Bank recap on this fine episode of Monday Night Raw? Like Mussolini in Ottawa.
Oh, come on.
So I tried to give it a little extra, because I want to do
no effort at all. No,
enunciate there.
Horrible.
But here comes Punk, and have you noticed? Did this pop out at you of the screen? He's 25 pounds heavier, 4 shades darker in terms of suntan, and looks 10 years younger than he did in AEW. It's like as Rodney would say, Hot Rod, it's like a heaviness has been lifted off of his shoulders. And you can see why I'm loving this. Like you said the other day about Punk and Drew, they don't even have to wrestle. This is great shit. Now we got Seth in it. And Seth was fucking interesting too, instead of being Seth Franklin. And I can't possibly encapsulate what they said in the promo. Basically, Punk came out and congratulated Cena on his retirement. I'd love to lace him up one more time with you. And then he said, I'm here, but Drew McIntyre's not here. And did you hear when he said, I talked to Gary and Pismo in the truck, and they agreed to play this tape. And he played the VTR of Drew McIntyre that you referred to on the Drive-Thru. I hadn't seen it yet. Or no, not on the Drive-Thru, on the Experience. We reviewed this show, but I hadn't seen that yet. But Drew comes out at the Money in the Bank post-show extravaganza, and he's pitching a fit, and they're trying to get him to back up, and he shoved a referee, and he elbows Pierce in the fucking face. And Wade Barrett is in there. They're shoving and pulling apart. And let's stop down there for a second. I love that shit because it looked like actual goddamn adults at a UFC fucking pull apart, instead of all the fake wrestlers that do the fake wrestling stuff that the modern kids do these days. Did you notice the little subtle differences?
Oh, I thought it was great. I don't know if I want to compare it to the UFC anymore. I don't really watch that.
Well, but I mean, when where they're still trying to take it as seriously as possible without doing cliche shit.
It was like if some real shit happened on a real post-game show. That's what it was. And I thought McIntyre, when he gets mad, he's looking right at the camera and he's steaming. You believe him. And Pierce's reaction, because that's an interesting thing. Here's the authority figure getting hit, and they got to do something with it. It wasn't too much, and it was kind of just right, and Wade Barrett got involved. This was incredibly well done.
And, and that's the thing, is that everybody is being serious and adult about this, and I think that's part of the thing that's making it. But then they go back to Punk in the ring, and he did the promo. There are consequences to your actions, and you're looking at him. And he laid the whole thing out. And they were both fine, but Drew was suspended also, and he was here to ask Jack Tunney or Adam Pearce or whoever he's got to talk to, please unsuspend Drew McIntyre so I can get my hands on him. And did you hear the line, I'll beat him up in the cheap seats. There's people on the other side of this camera. I'll beat him up there.
Yeah.
He drops it but it's not a gotcha line where he's expecting a pop. It's part of the fucking overall story. And, so anyways, he laid that out perfectly. And he has a case. He is making sense. This is why that he is doing this to Drew. This is his reasonings. And it's perfect, right? He's the baby face. And then here comes Seth Franklin Rollins' music. And this time, while he's making his entrance and the fans are singing and oh, he sits cross-legged on the fucking announce desk and takes the color headset and just said, we're going to be here a while. This takes so long, the singing and et cetera. And it's, again, it's what you would do, right? If you were, real. And then Seth does his promo face to face with Punk. And he has a goddamn reason, right? And Punk even says, hey, I got no quarrel with you. I'm trying to apologize. They go back and forth. It was tense and prickly. And Punk got it out where he said, I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't mean to screw anything up for you. But because Seth had been pushing him he also said, but because it's you, I can't really be all that sorry. It's fucking great. And Seth was serious. And he fucking bows up. And he tells him that the world doesn't revolve around you. And he has a goddamn legitimate reason to be pissed. And he lays that out. And that's why this is and they're being pricks to each other while they're doing it. But that's why this is so great, because and they're both baby faces, but they're both right. And they articulated it. Because if they both hadn't been on here, it could have turned to mush. But anyway, so now Seth is mad at Punk because Punk took something from him, so it's his turn to take something away from Punk. I love that.
And again, the intrigue, we kind of just spoke about it the other day. They got everything right in front of them with Punk and Drew. Rollins, we said, was right there for after Drew, but here he is being reintroduced into the mix right now. That was the original main event I shouldn't say main event. That was originally one of the big matches for WrestleMania before Punk got hurt. Punk and Rollins. There's been that thing there from the moment Punk showed up again with Rollins yelling at, fuck you, Phil, fuck you. That was the most ridiculous thing ever.
Fuck you and your friend Jim.
And they teased it here. You would think him and Drew's going to be a multi-match thing. I hate for things just to become three-way matches for no reason. Also,
well, I don't know that they're heading for a three-way here. I think they've got Punk and Drew, but they've also potentially got Drew and Seth and Punk and Seth. They've got everybody. It's not just one, is what I'm saying. But go ahead.
No, I guess that's really it, because they don't need the world title. You got Drew away from that finally, because now it's just him and Punk doing their thing. Rollins still wants it, but you have to think Gunther's about to have a run with it, because I can't see any other reason why they would keep it on Priest over Gunther. So
that one's going to be hard for me to swallow if that happens.
Yeah, I just don't see that possibly happening right now. And Gunther really hasn't even been around, so they're building it, just videos building him right now. But again, back to this, Punk and Drew should be a multi-match program, and you could do gimmick matches and build up to it. It'll make sense. And the intensity is just there. It's great. And then the question is, when do they execute something with Rollins and against who?
Execute something when they line it up against the wall. But then, so this was the big first segment, right? And boy, everybody's got their game face on. And then we get Jey Uso and Gable. And that was the transition to the spooky part of the program. And I got to, honestly, it was, there you go. We love Gable. We know what we got with Jay. So the match happened, and Gable got an ankle lock, and some of the lights start going out. And then people go, ooh. And then some more lights go out. And people go, ooh. And then smoke comes into the ring. Oh. And by the way, the babyface, Jey Uso, rolled out and ran away as quickly as he could.
The smart man in there, once again, ran away. How come Gable's always cornered by these people? The fans are all there. But Gable's like, I have nowhere to go. I'm in a dark alley. What will I do? How about just run into the crowd?
Well, Uso hit the spear, by the way, 1, 2, 3, before he ran out of the arena, because when the lights went out, Gable just dropped his advantage. But yeah, he can run, and then Gable is he's wandering. Even when he wakes up from the spear and he sees the smoke and he sees the ugly girl zombie, he rolls out and he's back. He's back running. He's back walking, running, where he's not running, but he's walking, but he's backing.
It's not even a male zombie. It's a woman. He's running from a woman zombie. It's not some big muscular zombie that's going to kick his ass.
Well, no, because she's got teeth.
She's got a box. Knock the package out of her hand and kick her.
Hold on now. I am not advocating for any kind of interspecies sexuality between humans and zombies here. You let her keep her box.
No, not that box.
She's got
the other box.
If she's got teeth, and if she's a zombie and she bites him, regardless whether he can beat her up or not, then he will have his blood infected and become a brain-eating member of the living dead also.
But if it happens at Raw, they'll probably cover the medical expenses.
Well, that's true, and they're doing a lot with stem cell these days.
That's right. You never know what could happen.
Well, anyway, he ran away finally, and she gave her box was given to the announcers. Michael Cole, I knew he was like that in his younger days, but I thought he had calmed down.
They're the announcers who didn't run away.
No, nobody runs except Gable. And, I forgot to even look, because I was zipping through at this point when she's just going to hand this thing. I think it was to McAfee this time. Were the security guards passed out on the desk, or did you even notice at this point? They've done it so often.
I don't remember if they did it this week.
I'm thinking they should have hammocks. Behind
really?
Where they
really?
You get the shot of the announcers are still alert and coherent at their desk, but the security guards that are supposed to guard them are asleep in hammocks.
How about having the announcers in hammocks? The first broadcast team ever in hammock together.
Well, you might have a hard time selling McAfee on that. In one of those love swings or something with Michael Cole. But anyway, then we had Bronson Reed and Pete Dunne. And Bronson won with a big splash, 1, 2, 3, and then Sheamus ran out and beat him up because he was abusing his privileges. That was the whole first hour of Raw, Brian. We're at the 9 o'clock hour.
The first segment was really, really good. And then it was like AEW. They went right to the spooky segment. Yeah. We went right from the really good right into the garbage can.
Wait a minute. I thought I had a garbage can set. Well, guess that would be the garbage being emptied into the...
I just want to see one of these baby faces turn around and yell, "Stop playing that goddamn piano!
Would you stop playing that piano?
The monsters are bad enough. Stop playing the piano!"
At least it's an easy beat to keep. If you've got a pulse, even if you're on somas, you can bing, bing.
Obviously, the spooky woman came out with a box, presented it to Michael Cole. We would later find out what was in that box. It was not a box of awesome.
No, it was not. I would call this a box of disappointment. What they were given there on that television program, there a box of sameness, a box of regularity, a box of disappointment. You expected it, and that's what you got. It's the same thing you got last time. That's terrible. Every time, Brian, that you get, or I get, or any of the listeners out there get a box of awesome in the mail from boxofawesome.com, it's something different. And you're surprised and you're delighted. It's like Christmas morning. You open it up like a young schoolgirl with a new Barbie doll that you can pet on and dress up and put into strange positions if you like, even if you're a young man.
What?
Between the ages of 6 and 9.
What?
But nevertheless, our friends at Bespoke Post, every month they come up with it. You just go to boxofawesome.com, you take the little quiz, tell them what you're interested in. We've talked about the many items, the Thai from Thailand, Thai moon knives that I just got that are sharper than a serpent's tooth, and the various food preparation items that we have gotten, and the barbecue rubs and sauces, and the other types of knives and swords and various things, and tools, multi-tools, and things that use blacksmithing methods, and knife sharpeners, and all kinds of things.
You know, if Chad Gable had been getting the box of awesome, he would have been prepared for anything that came at him.
Yes, he would have. He could have taken one of these knives and just and slayed those evil zombies with their brain-eating powers.
Or just cut through the ropes and left.
Yes, well, the ropes are easy to get through. Especially
with a
if
tie
you're as
knife.
athletic as he is.
With a tie knife. That tie knife is sharp, and you can sharpen it.
Once you get out into the crowd, if they're trying to block you so they can see the zombie eat you, then you might have to be carving your way through a wall of human flesh.
With one of their fine bone saws.
That's true. At Box of Awesome, you never know, folks, and you're supporting small businesses because 90% of everything that comes in your Box of Awesome is a small, up-and-coming brand that is seeking to reach out and touch the lives of more people around the world, and Box of Awesome is assisting in this process, so that's what you do. You just go to boxofawesome.com and enter the code JCE at checkout, and you get 15% off your very first box with that self-same code of JCE, because that way they know you're in with the program here. And again, you don't have to be like Brian and just talk about, all I want is medieval torture devices.
That is not just like Brian. That is not a true statement.
They've also sent us some fine cocktail and wine tasting items and accessories and glasses and things. Fun for the whole family.
Beautiful candles, actually. Beautiful smelling candles. I really like the candles.
Yeah, well, they're artistically shaped as well and attractive to the naked eye. But no, they smell better than they look, as candles usually do.
But these candles are really good, is what I'm saying.
Yes, they're good. They're good. And try them on Ritz crackers. They're even better. I'll tell you what, boy. So, boxofawesome.com, what's that promo code again, Brian?
JCE.
There you go. 15% off your first box when you sign up right spanking now.
Right spanking now. With Box of Awesome.
Yes,
Promo
we mentioned that.
JCE.
That too.
Let's go back to the spanking known as Monday Night Raw.
Well, Brian, before we do that, I've actually got some breaking news here. See, you do this to me all the time. I got to do it to you. This has just come across my desk. Oh. It's on the emergency line, the teletype. Did you hear about this? A pastor is facing federal charges after he allegedly hit his wife in the head during a flight when she got upgraded and he didn't.
I have not seen this story, no.
Well, we do. We try to encompass news around the broad spectrum of what the human race is all about, and this kind of epitomizes it. July 2nd, Alaska Airlines flight from Seattle to Anchorage, Alaska, Roger Allen Holmberg Sr. and his wife were traveling for an event related to their ministry. And according to witnesses interviewed by Anchorage Airport Police, Holmberg asked his wife, "How the hell did you get the upgrade?" And she responded, "I'm a Gold Point member. Don't speak to me like that."
Don't say hell, Pastor.
Well, then he allegedly handed his phone to his wife from the aisle while telling her to read it, and gestured with his middle finger. And then sometime after handing her his phone, Holmberg allegedly attempted to swing toward his wife and struck the top of her head.
Jesus.
Another witness told the police that he went to the first-class lavatory after the incident, and the witness, I guess this sounds like one of the flight people, said, if there are any further incidents with you, we will put you in handcuffs. So apparently, Holmberg's wife told the police he struck her in the head with the back of his knuckles, knowing that she had epilepsy and contact with her head could cause a seizure.
Oh my God.
This pastor, the pastor, she claims, has a history of abusing her and had previously broken her finger.
How old are these people?
Well, hold on. It's set up here now. I think, did it? No? I guess they're not, they don't want to be ageist. So they don't, I'm trying to see ages on these people. I don't have ages on these people. But anyway, so his defense for this, he's telling authorities he's upset that his wife had been upgraded to first class because he wanted her to travel with him and sit next to him. But he was not a violent person, did not intend to hurt his wife. He tapped her on the head in passing to get her attention. Which is, something that we all do. Hey, whack! Come here a second.
Hey, epileptic wife. I'm talking to you.
Yes, boom, I'm talking to you. And he added that he and his wife had been going to marriage counseling. And apparently because his wife was disrespectful to him often and had anger issues.
Of course.
Oh, he told authorities of a previous incident where she allegedly grabbed his leg while he was driving and broke her finger.
Took a turn at the end there. I didn't expect that. Okay.
Yes, on a reversal. So,
wait, how does that happen? She grabbed his leg and broke her finger in the process.
Apparently, so while he was driving, could possibly off a cliff. I'm not sure. But anyway, I love. The love is in the air. I love the way that they've been going to marriage counseling to examine these issues about wrapping his epileptic wife on the head. And apparently he was arrested upon landing and transported to the Anchorage Correctional Center.
Anchorage?
Alaska.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. And that's what they said. Alaska, what'd he do to you, ma'am? He has since been released, but cannot come within 100 yards of his wife. And now sometime he said he couldn't come when he was right next to his wife. In a statement, he also banned from Alaska Airlines.
There you go.
So there you go. But this, just in case you're going to this fellow's church or ministry or whatever kind of fucking 3-card Monty deal they got going on, Roger Allen Holmberg Sr. and his wife. So if there's a junior, he's at least, this is a middle-aged man, I would think at best.
If you have a kid at 20, by the time you're 40.
Well, but do you become senior when the kid's like fucking 6? Nobody knows the kid's around? Or is it like senior usually is older people?
I thought senior was just if the person has the same name.
Well, yes, but I mean, would you be being identified in court fucking documents as something senior if your kid's like fucking 4 and you're a 28-year-old dipshit?
Well, otherwise there's some sort of age classification on when you're allowed to be a senior and when
I'm not saying when you're allowed. I'm just saying when you recognize that any of these fucking little rugrats and crumb snatchers even are around.
Vince would have used that. Vince would have totally used that. No, yeah. After the age of 44, you can't be a junior. You can't call me junior.
I think until Junior gets some kind of criminal record, they ought to just make his fucking dad for the point of the goddamn scrutiny here.
How's that counseling going, huh? So, Pastor, tell us again about What you call tapping your wife on the head. Tell us about this.
No, the counseling worked wonders because now he's just rapping her on the head instead of breaking bones.
On a plane in front of people.
Yeah, apparently over the top of people.
Yeah, really. How tall was this man?
She's in first class. He's up there going, "Hey, how'd you get this fucking seat, bitch?" So and again, handed his phone to his wife from the aisle. Was she on the window seat? Was he rapping her, this epileptic, on the head over some businessman from Boise, Idaho?
Well, I'm sure the pastor has lots of good advice for people who need some advice for their life.
His first 3 words next Sunday are, "I have sinned."
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the problem right there. We can predict what the next step is for him. The big apology.
The 2-step.
The 2-step.
That's the next step for him, yes. And God forgives those who forgive me. Anyway, speaking of forgiveness, should we go back to the Raw? Might as well.
I feel like that's what Gary Hart would call it. I'm on the Raw.
Yeah, would you like some corn, brother? All right, it was 9 o'clock on the eastern part of the country, Eastern time zone, and there was Sami Zayn coming to the ring to do a promo, and I'm praising people. Boy, I feel positive, very positive, as Sheik would say today. But I got to praise people again. Sami Zayn is not only a good underdog babyface in his matches, he is a good underdog babyface in his promos. He gets it. He understands how to be him. And that's more difficult and not as prevalent as one would assume so, looking from the outside in. You know, or he could have been a mute luchador, but I prefer this. And he did the promo about Braun Breaker and how he persevered at Money in the Bank and, you know, it'd never count him down, blah, blah, blah. Very good, right? And again, sounds genuine. He's not out there droning the prepared remarks, right? And then Braun's music plays and he comes out and they're face to face and he won't say anything. He's just staring a hole in Sami Zayn. He just staring him down, Brian Last is what he is, staring him down like he's going to the chair. And finally, you know, Sammy's like, "Are you going to say anything, or would you come out here say anything to me, or what?" He hands him doesn't hand it to him, he kind of gives him the microphone. And Braun, he got it out in Steiner fashion. He tried to say something to the effect of, "I came out here to look the only man in the locker room who's beaten me in the eye." And it took him around, he went around his elbow to get to his wrist, but it sounds natural coming from him because he's a Steiner. And, you know, he's very philosophical. He's, "But hey, you know, I could say I want a rematch, whatever, but there's no reason for me to get a rematch." And he's kind of wandering around the ring. So I've been thinking, and he just drops the microphone and turns around and fires the retro rockets, however the fuck he does this, and spears the fuck out of Sami Zayn. And boom, and he gets on him, and here come the agents and the referees, and they can't hardly pull him off, and they're trying, and finally he starts to leave, and he does the around the ring spear, and you know, I know it's so cool, and that this is one of the things that I'm willing to let go. They never use that camera angle for anything other than that move. So why do they got a camera, potentially a cameraman up there for that? Could they cut to it every once in a while? But I don't care because it looks so cool. But have you noticed that?
I hadn't thought of it before, but you're right.
So it's kind of like, you know, that some element of this may have been predetermined. But anyway. So boom, and he does the around the ring spear, and now out comes Ilya. Ilya, oh, have you seen Ilya? Ilya, he sells his ass off. And he's pissed off because he and Braun got their thing going on, right? and they're going to have a match later tonight. So is the more on that later type of deal. But your thoughts so far on Braun continuing to fucking look great, and then getting a star push down correctly for once.
Well, again, he lost the match at the pay-per-view, and then afterwards you didn't see it, but Sammy did a promo putting him over. Just about how he underestimated Braun, even though Braun lost. He was talking about him almost like he won. And then this thing here, I love the moment where he dropped the mic and just tackled him. No one does that. No one does that. That's what you do. And the shot around ringside again, now that I think of it, because you said it, you're right, but I hadn't thought of the fact that they never use this camera angle unless...
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying figure another purpose for it so it's not just that, right? But anyway, little things.
Yeah, because it is, by the way, a cool angle. I like the idea of seeing wrestling from different camera angles that are reasonable, that we haven't seen wrestling from for the last, 30 years. So I'm open to it.
Plus, they can shoot all the whole building because there's people in all the chairs.
Yeah. But beyond that, I really liked it. Really good.
Well, and we should say that then they took an intermission. The intermission was Finn, JD, and Carlito against Miz and Truth and Braun Strongman. And then, they gave us a little bit more on the Punk and Pierce situation when basically Pierce said, I'm going to call Drew and see if I can set up a meeting about this. And you need to stay home next week. Heal up, let me deal with Drew McIntyre. Got Punk to agree to that. But of course, we don't know. He could be home next week, and that gives Drew the opportunity to do something without, them having to do something again, or he could be there to do something again. And that's the good part. We don't know now, but either is okay because the other guy's going to do. Maybe next week, Drew does shit with fucking Seth. Right? So they can have this non-monogamous relationship, is what I'm saying, instead of just the same thing every week. Speaking of non-monogamous relationships, did you see the Judgment Day catching Liv humping Dominic's leg?
I did see this. I know you don't like her, but I think Liv Morgan's been really good in this role, and it's made me watch these segments. She's been great.
But then we're going to have to watch her wrestle Rhea Ripley.
I'm okay with that. It's Rhea Ripley. It'll be great. You'll love it.
She looks like Rhea Ripley ought to be able to pop her like a pimple.
You're right. She's going to have to wrestle a smart match.
Well, and see what you're asking?
Well, I think...
But nevertheless.
I think she will. I think she'll play head games with someone, get them to want some of that ass, and then all of a sudden...
Oh, now, do you have to just be crass and
that's
bring
what
the
it
whole
is.
Show into the gutter?
No, come on, that's what it is. That's the whole angle right here.
You had head and ass in the same fucking...
I wasn't even thinking about
thought.
That. Well, listen. You got me off track now. What are we talking about? You want to order a hamburger? No, listen.
All right, shut up now. Just don't be. Now, you watch out there, fella.
Watch out for what?
Well, I'll tell you, because Damian Priest in that segment knew something that Dominic did not know, and we didn't find out what it was at that point, but Dom left after saying he's putting an end to it, and Carlito making remarks about the rigidity of his phallic organ and things and such. It's
an 80s teen movie. It's an 80s teen movie. Just those guys' reaction in the doorway. Carlito with his big hair.
Yes. Oh, then the two heads coming around the side of the, Yes, but that's why I'm saying everybody belongs except Priest if we're supposed to think he's a world champion. He's too fucking mild-mannered to be. Drew got some goddamn edge to him, and everybody's loving him now. And Priest is refereeing the goddamn Katzenjammer kids. For all you fucking nonagenarians out there.
Or for those of you who didn't get that version, the captain and his kids. But with Rhea Ripley back, do you use that as something to reunite them together? Obviously, he knew something because those are the two leaders of Judgment Day. Or do you start the dissolving of all this, or at least to get him away from the whole thing.
Well, it appears that at some point, Priest is, or maybe already being considered a baby face in some circles. So, and Rhea definitely is. So that's why they're in contact. I don't fucking know. I'm just saying the silliness. Everybody likes a good hard-on joke, and but with Priest in with these more trivial pursuits, that's what I'm saying. Speaking of trivial pursuits, anyway, is there anything more to say about the Bo Dallas VHS interview? It sounds great. What does it mean? What's going to happen as a result of it? And is anything gonna happen?
You know as much as I do, and you like this as much as I do. And every time, multiple times with Bray Wyatt, and now, we would hear from certain fans who would say, just give it time. I know you don't see it going anywhere yet, but just give it time. He's saying these really intense things that make it all make sense, and then nothing happens. There's been one zombie on TV. Where are the other 4 or 3, whatever it was? Where'd they go?
That's an easy work schedule, isn't it?
Yeah. I just, I hate this stuff. I hate it. What is it going to lead to? Is it leading to a bowl? Is it leading to, I wish it led to a bowl right now. I could use a bowl right outside. Is it leading to a Bo Dallas run? Like a push? Again, with like spooky, or if the gimmick is that they're not spooky, they're pretending to be, and he's going to take it all away, then what the hell has been going on this show? It's just awful. I hate it tremendously.
Well, will you do me a favor? Will you make me a promise? Just hold your right hand up and your left hand red, right foot green, whatever. Promise me. Scout's honor. Were you ever a scout?
I was a Cub Scout, but I gave up after like 1 year.
Do they have any honor? Are you too young to lie then, or do they have to take an oath?
I can't speak for the rest of my den, but I think I was a pretty honorable scout, yes.
Well, then promise me Scout's honor, as soon as they make any of this clear, you will be here on the program to explain it to me.
What the hell is that? You mean I have to watch it, but you don't?
No, I mean, whether I'm watching it or not, I don't understand it. And I'm not going to understand it when they make it all clear. So when they make it all clear, then I want you to explain it to me.
So I have to understand it to explain it to you so you understand it?
Yes.
How is that going to happen?
Once they make it all clear.
They're never going to make it all clear. They never make it all clear.
Well, people say they're going to make it all clear. So
here's what will make it all clear.
Let me know when the coast is clear.
Here's what will make it all clear. Stick on that wide shot they use for when Braun Breaker runs around the ring so we could spot zombies in the crowd. There's another usage of that camera.
Are they going for the zombie demographic to the point where if they get like 12% of the crowd as zombies, they'll put brains on the concession stand menu?
I don't know, but again, it goes to the whole idea. If Bo Dallas is, this great talker, and I'm not saying he isn't or anything, I just don't care enough to pay attention to.
No, I mean, this would be complete dreck in an entirely different way if it was anybody else doing it. He's doing a good job of doing whatever the fuck it is he's doing.
But my question, I guess, is this as effective as him just standing in the ring with a microphone right now because he would have the audience due to a number of circumstances and telling this story in the ring? Again, I know it's all about this visual end of it, and they have this vision, and it's all these things, and that's what started under Bray Wyatt. But that's the thing that drives it away from being wrestling. And again, it was right after the CM Punk segment, a wrestling segment followed by Friday the 13th, and then back to wrestling.
If it's...
Why is Chad Gable the only person on the show who has a problem with this?
Well, he's like the old deal with the cat with the witch. He's the familiar. Is it the familiar where he's the conduit between you and the spirit world? Well, every time Gable's around, he opens up the goddamn atmospheric continuum to where these creepy crawlies can fucking creep in, crap, and creep out.
Like, is this another part of the WWE Scooby-Doo crossover?
Can we get the mystery? There is a son of a bitch in the subdivision down the road from me that has a mystery machine.
Really?
Over on the other side of it's at a goddamn, not even past the subdivision, but it wouldn't make any sense to you anyway, but it's outside a goddamn paint and body and car apparatus.
This description is a mystery.
Well, they work with cars and work on cars and deal with the various automotive means of transport. And there's a mystery machine, or at least it has been. I haven't seen it lately, but I haven't been by there. You want me to go by there and check? I can be right back.
Hey, speaking of cartoons, want to hear something sad? I mean, not sad, but just it's a pain in the ass. I've gotten my son, who's about to turn 3, into Underdog, who's airing on MeTV Tunes. The problem is, Underdog's on for like the first 2 minutes, and then it's nonstop everything else, and then finally back to Underdog at the end. Not enough Underdog.
Oh, is that the end of the story?
That's the end of the story. I was trying to.
I thought you were going to say, so to make sure there was more Underdog, I purchased a DVD collection of nothing but Underdog to feed my child's hunger.
No,
for the Underdog.
There's no Blu-ray. If there was a Blu-ray, I'd purchase the Blu-ray. I have the DVD set, I think, from years ago at Sony, because we were the distributors.
Well, then just break down and play a DVD.
Yeah, I want a Blu-ray. Whatever.
You format snob, you.
Oh, listen to who's talking, Mr. V8. Beta is best.
Well, it was. But anyway, you want your son to have the entertainment, because you know what they say. When criminals in this world appear and break the laws that they should fear and frighten those who see and hear, the cry goes out from far and near for Underdog, Underdog. Speed of lightning, roar of thunder, frighting all who rob or plunder. Underdog, Underdog.
He loves that. The problem is trying to get him to sit through. I think I finally got him at least a little bit interested in Tennessee Tuxedo. But that's the problem. It goes from Underdog song right to Tennessee Tuxedo or King Leonardo.
Chumley is a very lovable character.
Nah, Tennessee Tuxedo is lovable looking and is, it's, hey, let's say here. It's just, it's Get Smart. What's his name? Don Adams?
Don Adams.
Yeah.
Missed it by that much.
That's Tennessee Tuxedo. Is that a good voice for a kid's cartoon?
Well, it just depends.
Now say, Chumley. Why are we talking about this?
I don't know. Would you like to hear the second verse of Underdog?
Yeah, do you know it?
When in this world the headlines read of those whose hearts are filled with greed and something, oh my shit, I write this wrong, with lightning speed comes Underdog.
Oh my shit, I don't think that was part of the song.
That third line escaped me. But anyway, speaking of...
that part where Underdog took a shit mid-flight.
Yeah, mid-flight. I'll tell you what, that's why they had to do something about Underdog, because the
pastor hit him on the head.
When super people shit, it's invulnerable shit also, right? So falling from a height like that, Superman had issues with that too. It would smite a motherfucker.
You think a superhero with superpowers that their excrement would have powers too, or just have what exactly are you saying?
No, I'm not saying they'd have any power. Probably really strong stink. Maybe that would be it, but it would be invulnerable, because if they're bullet impervious, that means their shit would be invulnerable too, right? Well, that would be harder than Chinese arithmetic. So
that's an automatic thing. Is their urine invulnerable as well?
I bet you if you got a golden shower from fucking Superman, it'd put your eye out.
Does Superman go to the bathroom?
Well, one would assume that he's
from Krypton.
But the evacuation process for someone who's obviously, if not mortal, at least mortal shaped. And Lois kept coming back for something, so we know there's something in there. And what else would you do with it besides fucking piss? So
you're thinking like a human, though. He's not a human. He's from Krypton.
And plus, you've seen Superman eat in the various
I've seen Clark
comic
Kent
books. And
okay, that's true.
Well, it'd be the same fucking thing. And so therefore it's got to go somewhere.
What does Batman do if mid-crime he has to go to the bathroom?
Oh, he just has Robin fill in for him, doesn't he? Until Batman could he could go right there also, though, because he's wearing dark colors.
Do you think Batman needs Robin, or can Batman exist without Robin for you?
No, I think Batman needs Robin just as to have the weakness, like the babyface manager. And that way they can get heat on the babyface manager and Batman can come to the rescue.
What do you think of Jack Kirby's stuff at DC?
It wasn't the same for me. And the New Gods thing, I still have probably 16 copies of New Gods #1 because it was supposed to be this fucking giant goddamn success. But
it wasn't the same to you in terms of the characters created, or
yeah, it did. It was like an NWA guy going to the WWF, and it just didn't seem like it fit for me. It was. The Marvel Universe was Kirby and Ditko and Bears. Oh my.
Who do you think deserves the credit for Spider-Man, Ditko or Stan Lee?
Well, now we've gone over that. Stan may have been a little bit of a braggart. There's been lots of contradicting testimony. I don't want to slander a legend who's recently gone on to his great reward after being apparently manipulated by his close family for years. So let's just say that a lot of the people that also created stuff there said Stan didn't have a lot to do with it.
Who do you think had more women, Stan Lee or Stan Lane?
That's not a contest. And even
you don't know that. Stan Lee may have been a real cocksmith on the Upper West Side.
No, for heaven's sake. Are you out of your mind? Stan Lane will live to be 98 or whatever Stan Lee was. So, well, I guess he's done now. He's married. So I don't want anything like that to get around. But still, I think his total probably approaches Wilt Chamberlain's.
In the 80s, because of your background, like as a kid who liked comics and collected comics, but you really weren't in the same place in the 80s as things were happening. But did you ever check out anything happening in independent comics? Like when Eastman and Laird created Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before they became commercialized and everything. Had you heard about it or anything?
No, I'm like, what? They're turtles and they do what? Kung Fu? Once that I got him, and people talk about the wrestling bubble now. The only reason you're in the wrestling bubble now, unless you work for the WWE or attempt to do your job for AEW, probably. The bubble back then was every day of your life from anywhere from 9 o'clock in the morning till noon, you're in a car or a plane until fucking midnight that night, 6 and 7 days a week. I was reading People, Time, and Newsweek, just something I could stick my head in the car or in the plane to keep up with general things in the world, but I didn't have time I didn't see any 80s television, prime time. Something that I never missed until I got on the road with wrestling, and then for like 10 fucking years, I didn't know what the fuck was going on between 8 and 11.
You're big on Seinfeld now, but did you watch it actually when it originally aired?
No. I did, and as a matter of fact, I remember specifically when I actually we took that time off from WCW in, April and May of 1989. That's when I discovered Cops, because that's the Fox network had just debuted, and that was the first season. I told the boys next time we went somewhere, I said, yeah, they've actually got the camcorder there, and the cops are beating the shit out of these people, and they're blah, blah, blah. Because that was very new for television at the time.
Everything on Fox, that America's Most Wanted was in the early run of Fox shows. Married with Children.
Christina Applegate.
Well, it wasn't. You're like the exact pervert they make fun of on the show with Christina Applegate.
Exactly. So there you go. And but yes, so that was like, oh shit, I'm watching television at night on a weekday for the first time in 7 years.
What about The Simpsons?
Probably about the same time. I had that year transition between WCW and Smoky Mountain, and then I'm fucking crazy again for 5 years. But so, and yes, I know people are so, well, the VCR, but the VCR was recording fucking wrestling. And so, point being, that was where I was going with this, was that was the wrestling bubble. Now I can understand the production departments being overworked in these companies and or the various office personnel. But if the wrestlers think this is fucking overworked, when, you know, they're 2 days a week, they might work TV or whatever, and then they're, you know, at liberty to pursue a life of religious freedom, you know, that ain't a fucking bubble. You literally had no time to live. So that was the bubble. Would you like to bubble back to Braun Breaker?
Yeah, I was going to say, we just did to the review of the Uncle Howdy segment exactly what they do to the wrestling show.
Well, there you go. Took in a completely different direction that meant nothing and was not resolved. And now back to our regular programming. Ilya Dragonov against Braun Breaker. And as I started watching this match, I realized another reason why it's a pleasure watching Braun Breaker perform is because the next time he has a match, and of course it'll fuck up in the first minute, but just try. Imagine he's working on a Crockett show in the 80s with the television setup, or world-class wrestling in the 80s. You know, every move he does, it's a modern match, but it would have been good in the 80s, not out of place in either era, because it just seems natural to shit that he would do. It's not just stuff that would have happened back then, and it's not a lot of gaga that doesn't need to happen now. He's unique in that this shit would have worked anytime because it's his shit. It's reminiscent of Bo Steiner's, but do you see am I making the point I'm trying to make?
I think so. I think you've made it a few times.
Well, then I'm repeating myself is what you're saying. Ilya does a lot of stuff that has been popularized in the modern era of wrestling over the last several years, but Braun shit would work anywhere at any time. And it doesn't date itself. Just every once in a while they get together as friends. The one thing I wish Ilya wouldn't spin so much when he's doing the swinging, turning, kicking. Fuck, it makes me dizzy. I really didn't make notes on this match because I just enjoyed watching it. Ilya, again, underdog, sells like crazy. He's got the over-the-top facials. He's a nut. We love him for it. He's this generation's Roughhouse Fargo. That's what he is. And finally, they're down on the floor, and Braun Breaker just picks a fucking giant announce desk chair up and fucking flings it at him. Boom, DQ. And then gets back on him, and he's getting heat on him, but here comes Sammy with the agents and the referees trying to hold him back, and Sammy makes a comeback and clotheslines him over the top. But he pulls Sammy out and throws him in the post and chucks him over the desk, and Ilya's back up and gets on Braun, and Braun throws him over the fucking desk. And everybody's trying to calm me. This is great. Is this a record for number of weeks in a row that a guy has been in an actual goddamn wrestling angle on this television program in I don't know how long?
You know, I don't want to say that because I think it's been a lot of guys since Triple H took over. They have multi-week angles, even if it's not the big one that everything is going to be focused on. Everything is laid out logically in terms of timeline.
But it's just wrestling angles. It's just simple stuff that you can understand that has been done before in many times, many ways, but you put different people and a different twist on something in a different place and it becomes new. That's what I'm saying. These work as wrestling angles. You'd have seen these anywhere, and This is the way you get a fucking heel over. And this is the way you get heat on an issue between, again, 3 people. Because Sammy is higher on the food chain or on the pecker order than Ilya is. Ilya's new, but he's kind of I can see them having an alliance where Sammy's the wizened old underdog and Ilya is the eager young underdog. And they're both perfect for Braun to beat up because he looks big. If he was beating up Bronson Reed, it would no. So very good, very good. Hold on here one second.
Well, there we go. And we just saw them a few weeks ago, so.
Sounds like a future farmer association speech. But anyway, so that's what's going on there. And then the rest of the program, there was a long girls 6-man tag team match. Did you see any of that?
I don't remember a second of it, so I don't think so.
Uh-huh.
16?
Okay.
There were 16 different women in the match?
No, I
don't think I saw it.
A girls 6-man tag team match.
Oh. Well, it's not 6-man tag if it's women.
Well, yeah, I mentioned they were in it.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Yeah, well, they're good. So anyway, then the main event. No.
I'm hoping they come get me. Come get me, zombies, please.
Well, they're not going to do that. They feed on brains.
Hey.
Anyway, the main event of this particular program was Dominic Mysterio and his mixed tag team partner, Liv Morgan, against Rey Mysterio and his mixed tag team partner, Zelina Vega. And they had a nice match, and it's a long 3-hour program. And finally, basically, Liv's treachery led to Rey Mysterio being crotched on the top rope and splashed by Dominic. 1, 2, 3. Son defeats the father. And they're overcome by emotion, or Liv and Dom, and so they hug, and then Dom realizes, oh my God, what have I done? And Liv pulls him down on top of him, and they are about to do the Humpty Hump, and suddenly Rhea Ripley's music plays. That's who Damian Priest knew, the thing that who knew the who voodoo. That is the person that Priest talked to on the phone, and the thing that Damian Priest knew that Dominic didn't know was that Rhea Ripley is in the building and waited till this very second, apparently, to come out and storm out and stalk out, and Liv ran away out through the crowd up into the arena, and Rhea Ripley starts to get in the ring, and there's Dominic, and my DVR froze. And am I told that other people had the same thing where they could have had a little bit more time at the end of this broadcast? Or was I out early?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard anyone else.
What did you see?
I just remember them kind of facing off. Whatever the relationship is, they were there. And
well, it was on the socials, the social people's media saying, well, they ought to manage their time better for once, the WWE instead of AEW, because it cut off early because apparently Dominic was trying to follow. Rhea walked out on him and he's trying to follow her and apologize.
Oh, see, I heard I heard Dominic surprised everyone by grabbing the mic and saying, what's this shit I hear about you getting married? And then she left because she was embarrassed, and he was he wanted to yell at her some more. So
that was in the back in front of the boys. Because they all bought it too. But anyway, there was Raw.
So who's she going to be mad at, Dominic or Liv? Liv's obviously on camera, manipulating the whole situation. And, what man can fight that? Dominic can't.
Well, oh, come on now. I mean, Sarah, you mean to tell me that if you were beholden and betrothed to and promised to and going steady with and regular pals with Rhea Ripley, that if you had the opportunity to mess around with Liv Morgan, that you would succumb to your baser instincts, sir?
If I was a wrestler, oh, absolutely. You can never trust a wrestler around another woman when their woman's not around them. Absolutely. That's lesson one.
You can never trust a woman or never trust a wrestler when a woman's not around and they're around a woman, is what you just said.
When their woman
is not around, but they're around another woman.
That's right. That's it. Game on.
Well, it depends on how many curves they've got. But anyway, the point is, I think that certainly Rhea Ripley is not only going to be mad at Liv Morgan, but also she is going to be highly upset at Dominic Mysterio leading to the team of Dominic and Liv Morgan in a handicap match with Rhea Ripley, which is the only way I'll buy that either one of them can whip her.
Well, the other thing, I guess, is they've teased stuff in the past with the rest of Judgment Day and Liv. So we'll see, what happens with Judgment Day as we go forward here. But that was Raw. Rhea Ripley is back. And I guess the end of the dry humping on Raw.
Well, there could be more humping. We just don't know which one's going to hump who. So we got to stay tuned for that also.
Yes, and perhaps once you see this humping go down, you want to call somebody. You want to tell them what's going on, what's going down on the USA Network. And if you want to call somebody, you need a good plan, like the ones offered by our friends at Mint Mobile.
You want to get on the telephone and call somebody, is what the big cat would say, Brian. Your calling plan there is weak. You just said you want to get on and call somebody. You sound like Truman Capote. You sound like Brad Siegel.
Oh, give me a break.
WCW.
Oh, kiss my ass. That's not true.
You gotta call somebody.
Call somebody. Call somebody.
With our friends at Mint Mobile, because if you've got friends, ladies and gentlemen, and many of you do, we know you have remarked. We've gotten probably a dozen emails over the last month or so in here to the program, somebody referring to someone as my friend. So we know they're out there. And you can get them in on this also, because after all, a friend does not let a friend overpay for their wireless service. And right now, Mint Mobile is basically telling you, spread the word here. And everybody can ditch their overpriced wireless plan and switch to Mint Mobile with a plan starting at just $15 a month. And you get the high-speed data, the unlimited talk and text. Brian, you have said that means that you can do all the things with your phone that the kids do these days. You can play the games and take the pictures and send the texts and everything, right, with this stuff.
Of course.
Well, you say, of course. I'm trying to let the people know, because that may be a question uppermost in their mind.
You'll be able to do all the things you could do with Mint Mobile. It'll just be cheaper and better. That's what they're saying here. They don't understand this. You don't understand this.
Well, I want to make sure that our audience knows that they can have everything they have with the big high-priced plans with this plan for only $15 a month. Of course, now that's when you sign up for a 3-month plan. So it's $45 over 3 months, because that's $15 a month, but that is the price, which is significantly more inexpensive than some of these other premium broadcast outfits there. So I want to make sure that the people know that if you want to text little Junior, that's included. And you can take pictures of your weenie and send them out to the school board.
What? No, the school board. Yeah, do it to Rick Steiner's school board and see what happens.
Well, you can do anything that people do with their regular, big, overpriced phone plans. They can do with the fine, inexpensive Mint Mobile phone plan. And let's say, as a matter of fact,
let's say good things.
You can hack into people's shit with one of these too, right?
Again, let's not focus on things that will have the listeners thrown into the clink. Let's talk about things.
The clink.
Let's talk about things to help everyone involved in this process.
There should have been a situation comedy in the 60s about the clink and just the criminals that get locked up in a jail. And nevertheless, I'm just saying, you don't have to worry about being jacked around and not being able to do something. Right now, if you've got a phone plan that's $100 a month and you want to call your mother, then you can call your mother on this Mint Mobile phone plan for $15 a month. So why Would anybody have the one for 100 when they can have one for 15 is what I'm asking you there, Brian. Why?
I think that you're saying good things and things that make sense, and these are words coming out of my mouth that I didn't plan on putting together before they came out of my mouth. But you know, Jim, people pay even more than $100 sometimes.
Well, and they're fucking idiots, aren't they?
Absolutely.
So, folks, if you know anybody doing that, as a matter of fact, don't tell them about Mint Mobile until you borrow some money from them, because apparently they're just spendthrifts and throwing out money like drunken sailors. So put the touch on them for a bit and then tell them about Mint Mobile. And right now, if you go to mintmobile.com/JCE, you're going to get that new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month. That includes calls to mother, text messages, and pictures of your weenie, the whole package. $15 a month for a new 3-month premium wireless plan. Mintmobile.com/JCE. The $45 upfront payment is required, equivalent to $15 a month, and new customers only on that 3-month plan. Speeds are slower above 40 GB on the unlimited plan. I don't have a clue what that means. And additional taxes, fees, and restrictions may apply. You can see Mint Mobile for details. If you live in Idaho, they may not want you to communicate with the rest of the country, but we don't know for sure. You go to mintmobile.com and check it out.
All right, Mint Mobile.